My first Let's Play was Kirby 64 The Crystal Shards, and since then you've seen me do Dreamland, Dreamland 2, and Kirby's Block Ball. But that's been a couple of years, and I felt it was about time for us to get back into the Kirby series. So, without any further ado, this is UniversalGiant
and Snickerr,
and let's play Kirby's Return to Dream... Wait, who?
Snickerr of Distant Gamers. I can put my YouTube link in the description below if you'd like. That
Since
helps.
when do I do a co-op? Who the... okay.
I don't think you've ever done one.
Okay, we've got somebody else here for once. If you're from his channel, this is probably a bit of a culture shock. And if you're from my channel, you probably never expected to see one of these. And I didn't mean to let the title screen stay on for long enough to show you the opening cutscene that we're going to see anyway. So, without further ado, I'm leaving you with the option here, Snickerr. I have another file prepared that I went through just in case the co-op didn't work out, that I would have done extra mode. There's the main mode, which I'd actually recommend if you've never played the game before, but if you're up for a more frustrating challenge that's going to require a lot more deaths, then you could go extra mode. I'd honestly recommend the main mode, but I'm leaving the decision up to you.
That's, whatever you recommend. Let's do main mode then. That's
okay,
fine.
We'll do the main mode. Just for reference, I have played through this game multiple times. Snickerr has never seen this game before, aside from the 20 minutes or so I let him get acquainted with the controls yesterday. So, just to get an idea, what game did you think this was when I first showed it to you?
Oh, when I first saw the loading screens, well, this reminds me of Crystal Shards, just to throw that out there, but when I saw the planets, it just reminded me of playing like a Super Mario World, like an old school one.
I was actually referring to when I showed you the box and said I want to play a new Kirby game. What game did you think it was?
Oh, Epic Yarn.
That's how blind this is going to be for him.
Yeah.
So I've played this game through multiple times. He's never seen this game before.
Yeah, not really.
This is going to be a bit of a surprise. But the game does start off very similar to Kirby 64 The Crystal Shards. You have an alien crash land on Popstar. You have stuff that prevents him from leaving, scattering about the planet, and then Kirby steps in. So I do kind of like the opening cutscene. It's got a bit of an Okami feel if you played for the PlayStation at least, where you have the storyline and the cutscenes playing themselves out on parchment like you're watching a story unfold. I always like that effect. But you see the spaceship crash land on Popstar and Kirby steps in.
Wait, so we're going in a spaceship?
Yes, we are. Fortunately, it doesn't look like it's working anymore, and I'm still not entirely sure what Meta Knight is doing back there. He doesn't seem the least bit interested. But there's the alien in need. All the energy spheres are gone. All
Missing
5
parts?
of the main components of his ship are missing. But luckily enough, Kirby's not the only one here. He's got a couple of pals with him as well. And all of them are more than willing to help. Except for Meta Knight. I still don't know what's going on with Meta Knight. But he's here and he's more than willing to help, so... They've scattered to 5 different points on Popstar, and it's up to us to find each of the 5 so we can get back home. And with that, our adventure is underway. So we open up, go into the first world, and just like... I forget which game introduced this. I think it was Kirby's Adventure, where you have all of the different worlds or levels named after foods. In this case, Cookie Country, level 1. And each time we head into a new world or complete a stage, the next one will open up for us. Okay. And I believe you can enter in by hitting the minus button, but the multiplayer controls will be introduced when we get into the stage first. You can choose between 4 different characters as multiplayer. You have Waddle Dee, who has the spear. You have King DDD, who has the hammer. You have Meta Knight, whose sword and a bit of a wing. And you can also choose an alternate colored Kirby. So whoever you want to use, it's up to you. You can switch off as often or as infrequently as you like.
Yeah, I'll switch it up. I'll do Meta Knight first.
So in we go. Yes, you can ride on me as well. And just quick introduction to how to use the multiplayer. Pretty straightforward. So, if anybody is unfamiliar with the Kirby series, I'm not sure why you're watching this, but you have the classic inhale and exhale enemies. You can use that to break star blocks. You also have a little dash kick when you're against the ground you can do as well, and you can float up. If you inhale specific kinds of enemies and swallow them, you get their abilities as well, in this case, Sword. And I'll be showing off as much of these abilities as I know, so I'm playing very similar to Meta Knight right now, except I can't use the wing. But you can dash across short gaps, and of course you can float up as often as you need to. In this game, unlike Kirby 64, you do have an infinite jump, and you can share food, which is really, really helpful.
Yes.
So if you get 100 of these stars, you earn a 1-up. We're probably not going to care too much about collecting those, simply because lives don't stay with you after you die. But you can go through these as well. And I don't know how much of these mechanics I want to explain. I know we went over a couple of them in practice. But these are what the energy spheres look like. You gotta collect 120 of those if you want 100% the game. I'm not sure if they're absolutely required to beat the game. I assume they are. But I've never completed the game without them. And
you would need them. Oh, look at that!
You would need that. And you can hold on to my ability as well. So if I need to use another one or suck up a bigger block like I did before, you can give that back to me whenever you feel like. You could B button. There you go.
There you go.
So I do want to take a little bit of time to explain the mechanics because you haven't played the game before, so it's just as much of an excuse as any. But I also want to give you some time to talk as well, because I feel like I've been the one doing it the whole time.
I mean, you're explaining the game. I'm learning.
So
it works.
I basically went through one stage with him in practice, which was this one.
It was this exact stage.
I thought your reaction to seeing the Ultra Power was priceless.
Yeah, that was... Yeah.
So, new to this game, completely overpowered abilities. There are some stages where you get these at the very end of. They're overpowered forms of other abilities that you get in this game. And you generally use them to break anything flashing with the stars. So I take the time to freeze the stage and utterly obliterate it.
I get time to appreciate it. It's nice.
Except there are a couple of them where if you're struck by it, then you actually get knocked back by it. You don't get hurt by it.
Wait, really?
It's funny when you get struck by them.
Do enemies have these abilities? Ever?
I will not say.
Okay, that's good. That means yes.
So, yes, that means yes. But you would come to expect it. But at the end of every one of these sections, there's a giant one that you have to break, and inside, it opens up a warp to another dimension. And this is where we find the remaining 2 energy spheres in the stage. So, in these stages, you have a giant wall chasing you. You can stand right up against it. It will not hurt you, but it will crush you if you happen to get stuck against it and between a wall. And it will also speed up depending on how far ahead of the wall you are. So it does have a rubber band effect. But at least in the very beginning, it's not going to do too much catching up with you, so it just gets you introduced to the mechanic. I do really love the music in these sections as well, though. I mean, sometimes I'll just come back just for these sections because they're really fun to go through and listen to.
Shoot.
And before we get that boss, we do get a little bit of a choice in terms of what ability we want to go into it with. I'll go in with Sword just because I like Sword. But this is it, the Sphere Doomer. Now, each of these Sphere Doomers, there are a couple of them in this game that you can get, and they're all different abilities, or they're based on different abilities. Depending on which one you're facing, you can't actually get the ability that they are based on which ones you decide to inhale. So those attacks that they give, the little circles and such, you can swallow 4 abilities, although some of them I have, some of them I haven't, so I'm not 100% sure on which ones they are. But now that we have all the energy spheres, we can make our way to the end of the stage. And just like in Kirby's Dream Land 2, the end of the stage is a goal game.
It's 2, right?
It's the jump button.
Alright.
And if we just so happen to land on the same one of these at the end, we get a bonus as well. So we'll probably work on that.
Yep.
And that does it for stage 1.
Alright, I think I'm going to be switching through the characters in each one just to try them out.
You can do that too. And there will also come a point where there are specific energy spheres that you need an ability to get. So if, for instance, I need hammer or stone and I don't have the ability with me for whatever reason, I'll probably ask you to switch.
Alright.
But from here on out, it's completely blind to Snickerr. And I kind of wanted to try out Leave, but oh well.
Did I hit that off you?
We'll work on that. No, you destroyed the enemy that I wanted to swallow. So new to this game is not being shown off because Snickerr is trigger happy.
Alright. There has to be more.
Well, one of these don't have any abilities, but we've just killed 3 of the things with Leave.
Alright.
And Leave is gone.
Completely?
Well, it'll come back. We'll find new
ones.
ones, and we can off-screen enemies to bring them back. But those ones are gone.
There'll be more.
So we have a couple of these Warp Star sections where we just fly around and admire the scenery. One of the best things I like about this game is just staring at the background and seeing how detailed they are. It's surprisingly beautiful.
That is surprisingly nice.
It's not very often they'll hide stuff behind you either.
Alright.
But we finally have a music change, and over here is Cutter. Now Cutter is very similar to what it was in all previous games. You can throw it up or down, direct it. You can also build up a big one, and this one will stay on screen for a little while if you can bounce it between sections. But Cutter also has a bit of a close-range melee as well, similar to Sword. You can do the uppercut and everything. I'll be holding on to Cutter because I think we need it for one of the energy spheres. Or at least to show off a little bit of something. But I've grown a little bit more fond of Cutter than I was when I initially had this game, when I initially played it through. But you use it to cut ropes. Now, the yellow platforms, the thin ones, they won't crush you or any enemies underneath you, but the heavier ones will, so you need to be careful.
We get that with this, obviously.
Right, that's a 20-star.
Okay.
And food if we need it, which we don't. We're gonna get it anyway.
Okay.
Now, I think it's not in this section, but it's towards the end of another section. I'll point it out when we get there. This is a cannon. You can hold it over your head, and it will rapid-fire these cannonballs for you. We generally use these to break those big metal blocks.
I'll just follow you.
There are a couple of energy spheres you have to get with items like this. So, for instance, that button, we needed the thing to hit.
Whoa!
Break.
You hit me.
Wait. Yeah, you don't take any damage from it, but yeah, there's the energy sphere.
Alright. Can I pick that up?
You can pick it up as well.
Sweet.
So just make your way over here. I'll go through the door. You should still have it on the other side. And over here is Needle, probably the least impressive of the things that I found. Yeah, it does have a timer, so it'll break in a couple of seconds, and then you can't use it anymore. But there's really not much to write home about in terms of Needle. If you shake it up, you can shoot the spikes out. You have that, which is similar to... I think it's similar to the Lightning Rod ability in Kirby 64. Except, of course, without the Lightning Rod. We don't need that.
Oh, they brought that back.
Max Tomato?
Max Tomato, yep.
Staple of the Kirby series. Maxes your health. This is where I don't want you to get trigger happy going through the door, because there's a specific energy sphere towards the end of here that you'll probably miss if you don't see it. So do not go through that door.
Go through.
Instead, there it is up in the tree.
Oh, wow.
Very easy to miss if you've never played the game before. That's why I wanted to stop you. But Beam, it's a bit of a mix between Beam and I think one of the attacks is like Mirror. But we have Beam here, we have Fire. I like Beam because you have a special charge-up attack you can do. But over here is going to be the first instance of a mini-boss, who we have to defeat in order to get through. And this guy's based on the sword power. Now there are a number of these. I don't know if there's one for every single ability in the game. But I like Beam just for the charge-up. So we'll get Sword again, because I think we're going to need it for here. Yeah, make sure you're not standing underneath that when I break it, because that will crush you.
So the gold ones won't.
The gold ones will break, the metal ones won't. And that does it for stage 1, too. So maybe we can get this one.
Alright. I don't think I got it. Oh, I did!
No, we both made it!
Alright.
High five.
That was good.
First of many, I hope. He's crazy.
That was
we get a Maxi Tomato and a 1-up for that.
Oh, nice. Alright, so let's...
What are we up to? 17 minutes? Yeah, we could go one more. It's the first episode.
Alright.
On to 1-3. You want to switch? Who do you want to use? Waddle Dee?
I just keep going through.
Okay, Waddle Dee's got the spear. And although he doesn't look like it, he has a multi-jump, so he can float up just like we can. But here's my favorite ability in the game, Spark. Now, mainly, you just stand still and do this. You can do a lightning bolt above you or below you. What I like most about Spark, you can run back and forth and build up a lightning shield.
Oh, I didn't mean to hit up.
And you can also shake, and I think this is another stage where you don't want to go through the door very quickly.
Okay.
So if you see a door, ignore your urge to go through it. But with this shield, you can actually shake it to build it up, which is nice. And you can go straight down like this. But I like having this don't go in the door. There you go. I like having the shield built up because you can hold on to it for a decent length of time, and the weak enemies won't even be able to collide with you.
I didn't even notice you still had your shield on.
Yeah, I still have my shield on, and as long as I just keep shaking it, I'll be able to maintain it. Really helpful to have this on. I don't even have to attack or anything. But we can use that to get a 1-up. Now, our lives are actually shared in this game. So, if you die, I pay for it, and if I die, you pay for it. But more specifically, since Kirby and his Ultra Powers are required to beat some of the levels, if I die, we go back to the checkpoint. You can die and we'll still go on. Yeah. But if players 2, 3, or 4, if they die, then I need a beam for that.
Ah, okay.
So I think the beam guy will respawn if we go all the way back, or if I just pull it from the sphere there. But beam can go through. They're just stars. Since we're not going to be playing all of this through in one sitting, I don't care too much about them. But down there is a locked door with an energy sphere behind it. So what we have to do is take the key that's all the way at the end over here and bring it back to the other side.
Okay.
And with the key, you cannot hover. So I'll probably wait for that to come back, but I can't multi-jump or anything. One jump is all I got with the key in hand. So always keep this in mind. Even if you have the bomb ability with you and you're holding onto a bomb, you're not going to be able to jump more than once with it. Admittedly, I've died that way a couple of times, and it's quite embarrassing when it happens.
Oh!
But Beam also has this stand still and do that for a while, as long as you keep tapping the B button. But I'm not too much of a fan of Beam, just because it has a kind of limited range. Except with the charge up, but... I'm surprised neither of us have died yet.
Yeah, that's... Well, okay. Now that you said that...
Oh, we'll be fine. So, of course, the Shotzos, you can't kill them, but you can knock them down.
Alright.
And those are spikes. They don't look like it, but they're spikes.
No, they do not look like it, actually.
Okay, now here's the first instance of a key run. That enemy is going to be running all the way to the end. We have to chase him down to pick up the key to unlock the last energy sphere.
Oh, you got your...
So I don't really care about my abilities at this point. I just want to beat him. This is relatively easy early on. So right now we're just going to be waiting for him. But they get a lot more difficult later, especially in extra mode. Some of these key runs are the worst energy spheres to get.
Really?
So you can go pick that one up. And I'll make a dash for the exit.
Oh, I'm coming! Alright. Alright, here we go.
So one more goal game. Perfect.
There we go. Oh, what?
It looked perfect.
Yeah.
But that's stages 1 through 3 of level 1. This is UniversalGiant
and Snickerr, Distant Gamers.
And next time, we'll head into stage 1-4 and finish off Cookie Country. See you next time.
Take care.